Okay, hi everyone. Looks like we're about at time, so why don't we go ahead and get started with today's webinar. So the topic for today is using your intranet to create a great digital workplace experience. First off, I would like to introduce myself, Will Hardy, and my colleague Chris Radcliffe will be the two voices you'll be hearing today. So both Chris and I have been heavily involved in the intranet and employee portal space for close to 16 years now. So it's safe to say that this is a topic area that we know extremely well and are truly passionate about. A few quick logistics to start off. We're aiming to keep this session pretty brief at about 30 minutes total, with an opportunity for a few questions and discussion at the end. So please send along your questions if you've got any via the WebEx chat interface. And if we don't have time to answer every single question that comes in, we'll certainly follow up after the webinar individually. So back to the topic that likely brought you here today. How can you use your intranet to create a great digital workplace experience? Certainly much has been said and debated about over the past little while about the future role of intranets and whether or not they are still truly relevant with the rise of all these new digital workplace tools that have become available. And no doubt we've seen some pretty remarkable shifts in the marketplace over the past year or two in particular. And a lot of this is really fueled by a shift to the cloud or a contemplated shift to the cloud at some point. And really the increasing popularity and adoption of services like what's offered in Office 365. And that shift is really fundamentally changing the way that most organizations are thinking about investing in intranet projects. The day of the monolithic intranet project investment is definitely fading away. So through this change, we see many organizations are looking to the intranets to play a central role in anchoring a great digital workplace experience, but not necessarily serving every function of that. In our mind, modern intranets have evolved to become a natural hub for consuming and aggregating information, and allowing employees an easy way to jump off to their other digital tools and services that can coexist seamlessly together. So, how can you use your intranet to create a great digital workplace experience? There are certainly lots of areas where we could talk about in relation to this broad topic, but we've decided to focus our attention on 4 key themes. And these include reaching all employees with timely and contextual communications, sharing knowledge across the organization, increasing productivity and access to information, and lastly, fostering a strong employee connection and community. So for each of these areas, we'll share some real-world examples that we know to be successful and have seen to be successful, and also share some of the related concepts and features that we've included in our Go Intranet Accelerator that further support each topic. So hopefully you can relate to these examples and find the solutions that we talk about as inspiring as we do. So we mentioned Go, and if you haven't heard of it already, Go is an Intranet Accelerator offering that has been developed by Habanero and is the basis for all of our intranet projects. It's built to be a best practice foundation layer for creating awesome intranet experiences based on SharePoint, and it supports both SharePoint Online in Office 365 and SharePoint on premises. It's also important to point out that everything that we've built into Go has been built on many years of real-world domain experience in the intranet space. Habanero just celebrated our 20-year anniversary and is seen as a thought leader in this area, having built literally hundreds of intranet solutions over the years. Many of those solutions are recognized as world-class. And just this year alone, a solution built for Enbridge, which we'll actually show later on, was named in Nielsen Norman Group's Intranet Design Annual as one of the 10 best intranets. And this is a solution which leverages Go under the hood. Habanero is also consistently recognized as a top employer in Canada. And we feel this is pretty relevant because that understanding of the ingredients of creating a great workplace, particularly when it comes to technology systems, is also baked right into Go. Go provides a great internet experience out of the gate, as you see in front of you. And it's also one which is fully extendable and configurable as well. We should call out that it's important to look at our Go offering through a couple of different lenses. First, it offers a comprehensive set of feature modules that you'll likely need to build a great intranet experience. These are capabilities which we feel just aren't met out of the box with SharePoint, and that most of our customers ask for. Most of which are focused on the needs around employee communications, knowledge sharing, and productivity. Second, Go offers a flexible user experience design system. We have a great user experience offered out of the gate, but you can also further extend it to align to your corporate brand and identity. And lastly, Go is a fully extendable platform to take your implementation beyond the initial feature modules that we make available. Solutions can be fully extended either using Habanero or with your own internal IT team and through our Developer Edition toolset. And probably the best part about Go is that we're making all of the core modules that reflect our years of experience available without any associated licensing cost.
So with that, let's dig into our first topic area, that is, how to best reach all employees with timely, contextual, and relevant communications. We do a fair amount of work with employee communications professionals, and we know that this challenge is a challenge that many organizations struggle with. What's interesting is that even though there are more options today than ever before, this additional choice has not really made it any easier for organizations. Instead, it seemed to kind of complicate the matter. Quite often, we talk to employees that are simply just overwhelmed with information. There's just too many channels and too much information, whether it's through email or through their intranet or different collaboration systems that they use. It's hard for them to really filter out what's truly important and what's not, leading to a lot of clutter and missed information. Many organizations want to focus communications and information down to what's truly most relevant and directly applicable to specific regions, roles, or job functions, something that's easier said than done. And we see many organizations struggle to connect with employees that are not necessarily based within a physical office day to day, whether they're on the road or in the field. And all too often, these groups remain out of the communications loop. And employees are also increasingly expecting to consume content as they would in their personal lives and the experiences that they've become accustomed to via consumer applications. So let's start off with a real-world case study example here. This is eLink, which is an intranet that we built for Enbridge, which happens to be a recipient of Nielsen Norman's 2016 Top 10 Intranet Award. Habanero worked with Enbridge to reimagine what their intranet could be focused on. You can see from this example here, we have a great layout of information, content's prioritized and segmented throughout the homepage, clearly highlighting the most important information. And one of the things that we tried to do really nicely was balance and separate information across the different panels and featured areas within the page. All of the content also is targeted to specific audience groups. And this allows the content and the experience for the employee to stay fresh and always focused and relevant. In terms of key content areas, you can see in the center of the page we have a Let's Talk Major Projects featured area, and that'll be commonly used for corporate news or company news, major campaigns that are going on within the organization. You can see down the right-hand side we have two different columns of information, one for further detailed news that might be coming from a blog post or through the company. And we also have an area on the far right where it's Al Online, which is an area to showcase executive conversations within the organization. Further down the page, we've got a number of different areas. You can see one highlighting features within the organization. We have an area for safety, dedicating to safety, and also different video channels that are starting to communicate information through video and audio. And again, further down the page, you can see we have an area for classifieds and also events. One of the nice things about eLink is that it's designed from the ground up to be fully responsive. So if you had accessed the intranet through a mobile device or a tablet, you'd see a responsive experience where the homepage shrinks down to a nice form factor. You still have the ability to navigate using the global navigation on the top right-hand side and expand to see different areas of the portal. And of course, Enbridge is a very large organization, over 10,000 people within North America. They operate in many different locations with different field regions and different business units. So you can imagine keeping the information relevant and contextual to individuals depending on their location is a big challenge for the organization. So we ended up really leveraging the content targeting capabilities within SharePoint so that we could look at news, article pages, policies, events, campaigns, just about everything within the portal and apply a regional filter to it. So from an authoring standpoint, it's a fairly straightforward process. You can see this is the form that allows any author, depending on the type of content that they're publishing, to tag the content based on the audience group. So you can click based on the business unit, the region, you can choose the business unit, you can select Canada, United States, or different categories to target the content. This creates a great experience for employees as they're in the page itself. They might only be seeing content that's relevant to them, or in certain situations, you might want to actually allow them to change their viewing preference so that they could see content that's relevant to different areas of the business. We've allowed that option in the global navigation where an employee can come in and change their viewing preference themselves.
So as Chris described, Enbridge is a great example of using an intranet to effectively communicate across a large and complex organization. Shifting gears to Go, improving employee communications is a key focus for Go as well. We wanted to create an awesome and modern communications experience, which you'll see here is built directly into SharePoint and Office 365. Visual focus and hierarchy helps users to quickly scan and consume content and communications. Feature items are called out on left, and news articles and announcements are categorized and served up via search. Content authors can select feature items and multiple card presentation formats to truly craft their messages appropriately. News items on the homepage open a content page with a host of pre-configured styles and display options. One of the common requests from employee communicators is the ability to share rich, well-formatted content in a consumer web-like fashion. Anyone who might have struggled through trying to author news articles in a SharePoint announcement list will likely really appreciate what we're showing here, which is an example news article page. The page can also include social commenting and likes to engage users in further discussion on the topic at hand. To allow users to focus on the content most important to their jobs, news content can also be targeted to specific audience groups, such as a regional office or a business unit, and thus serving up content with a higher degree of relevancy and timeliness. Different card display options are made available for different types of message content. The People Spotlight card, which you see here, is just one example. Go can also tap into and aggregate content from other sources. One example might be video content that might be hosted in the Office 365 video channel, but this could also include YouTube or Vimeo or other sources like a Yammer discussion thread. The Go experience is also designed from the ground up to be fully responsive. Content can be consumed anytime, anywhere, on any mobile device. So this not only helps on-the-go office workers, but also makes the internet accessible to field workers as well.
The next area we want to explore that can help create a great digital workplace experience are features that help employees share and access valuable insights or knowledge within an organization. It's pretty common for us to hear organizations asking for a better way to disseminate process knowledge to all of its employees and to be able to quickly share information and get it into the hands of those who need it, and to notify people when updates or changes occur to policies and procedures. It's quite common to see content spread across multiple applications, could be sites, or many different repositories, which really erodes the consistency and productivity across the organization. And at the same time, as organizations are looking to target communications, they're also looking to break down the organizational silos that can naturally form either by region or by departments and function as a collective organization. The example you see here is from a client in the oil and gas industry, customer of ours, who had a critical need to provide access to key operational policies and procedures. Probably a common use case, one that I'm sure resonates with you. Prior to this solution, they really didn't have a single source, no single solution. They had multiple locations where content actually resided. And not all employees had access to this content. There were really no easy ways to communicate any of the changes or updates that happened to the content as well. And I guess one thing that's really important to call out here too is that it wasn't just sharing the content and organizing it that was the challenge, but it was also sharing a lot of the changes to the content that happened over time. Many organizations really have different types of employees, whether it's shift workers or seasonal employees, who need to know what's changed with the policies and operational guides. And our solution helps highlight recent changes and flags the area of the business that the change really truly pertains to. So here you can see the main global navigation area where you can sort or filter to try and find a policy or a procedure. An employee has the ability to navigate based on a rich taxonomy and expand on the document information panel to see the specific metadata and version approval details. The solution not only stores the static versions of the content, but it also helps support the overall life cycle of the content, allowing anyone the chance to request a change and also provide feedback to the author or the owner of the content.
Within Go, we've built some strong capabilities to support better knowledge management across organizations. Our knowledge management module leverages search to surface both pages and documents. This content can be tagged with a taxonomy of terms, which authors can choose from to classify content. And end users can either browse or search depending on their personal preference. Searching reveals suggested results as you type, in this case, content that matches benefits. Browsing allows you to navigate either by topic or by type of content. The options that you see here, the topics and types, are actually managed in a SharePoint term set and thus are pretty easily configurable behind the scenes. If we select the benefits as an example topic, you'll get a filtered list of all related pages or documents within the knowledge base. You can then further refine through the metadata terms displayed on the left-hand side of the page. Authors will utilize the content management capabilities to create and craft knowledge pages or documents, and easily tag these pages with the appropriate metadata terms. It also calls out when the content was last updated to give a greater degree of confidence of how current it is.
The next area we want to talk about and explore has to do with increasing productivity and access to information. Probably one of the most common use cases that every organization is trying to improve on to create a great digital workplace experience. Everywhere we go, we hear people complain about how difficult it is to find information. McKinsey & Company recently published the Social Economy, Unlocking Value and Productivity Through Social Technologies white paper, where they commented on between 20 and 30% of an employee's time is wasted searching for information. So let's turn to a case study and show you a great example of how companies are making it easier for their employees to find critical information. This particular example is from ATB. This is a screenshot of their new homepage built on SharePoint, and shows a variety of content and information that's being shared with employees on the main featured area sections. Further down the page, below the fold, you can see stories about the community and a panel for customer offers. As well, we have a panel for upcoming events to keep everyone in the know of what's going on. Now that might all look fairly familiar based on what you've seen with other intranets. But one thing we wanted to call out that we did with ATB that was unique and fairly innovative was the creation of a My Toolkit area within the global navigation. When employees visit their toolkit, they're actually presented with a list of My Links, tools and applications, forms, and team sites. They can edit their lists and streamline the access that they have to the most important information that they may be trying to access on the intranet on a daily basis. Here's another example, another case study from a company called Goldcorp. In the Goldcorp employee portal, they also built a similar area called the My Goldcorp section. And within My Goldcorp, you can see a few pretty interesting things. The first I want to draw your attention to is the notification panel across the top. The notification is actually highlighting key information for the employee. You can see it's highlighting information such as notifications from Exchange, how many new email they have, their upcoming calendar invites, and it's also highlighting upcoming tasks or newsfeed items that they haven't yet read. The next major area on the page that I wanted to draw your attention to is the I'm Following section. The I'm Following is similar to the My Toolkits, where we're providing employees with the top information that they're following within the portal. So this could be the forms and templates from a giant edited list. They can winnow down all of the possible forms and templates and highlight the ones that are just relevant for them. Or the applications and workflows. Goldcorp has over 30 or 40 different applications and over hundreds of different workflows that are going on in the portal at any given point in time. So this list allows the employee to select the workflows or applications that they use on a regular basis. And finally, we use the following feature within SharePoint to allow the employees to select the departments and team sites or the documents that they want to be able to access more frequently. And below the fold, the next panel we have available to the end users are what we call the Common Actions panel. So this is a list of applications that the end users or employees would be accessing on a regular basis. But instead of naming, the applications based on the app name, which in some cases isn't a very intuitive name, we've created a nice, concise title based on the task that the employees are likely trying to accomplish, such as book a leave request or manage your goals. And this creates a nice single sign-on experience for the end user so that they can log directly into the application that they're trying to access.
Within Go, one of the ways we focus on productivity is with the My Work menu. It's intended to help users quickly find the sites, documents, and links they use most frequently. If you're familiar with SharePoint and Office 365, you might be aware of the followed content feature. And it's a great capability, but the problem is that it's slightly difficult for users to find. Go exposes it more readily through an improved navigation experience that's always available through the intranet. The documents and sites are unique and managed by each specific user, so it really adds that element of personalization to the intranet. And I should point out that this is a great example of how intranets can be a central digital workplace hub. Perhaps one of the most common asks is to help increase findability of team sites in the SharePoint intranet. We know that organizing and discovering team sites can be challenging as they grow in numbers. We've observed many users needing to navigate to past emails simply to get to their team site links. The team collaboration sites, and now Office 365 groups as well, tends to experience the highest degree of viral growth. And a great directory helps to make them discoverable, keeps them up to date, and provides a means to enforce good governance policies.
The last area that we want to explore that can help create a great digital workplace experience are features that help foster employee connection and community. We commonly hear employees feeling left out, saying that they have no idea what's going on in other areas of the company. We know it's very difficult for these organizations to balance the local community interests with the important information that should be shared across the company. And it's not uncommon for many global or international organizations to have a one company initiative going on to try and harmonize all the unnecessary differences across each area of the business. Intranets can be used to surface shared values, giving visibility into cherished areas of the company corporate culture and highlighting people or stories that can be truly inspiring. A common challenge organizations have is figuring out the right balance of global and local content. We've seen that when organizations focus too far on either extreme, employees will feel frustrated as the content just really won't relate to them. We feel that intranets can be used to create a stronger sense of connection among employees. One method that we've seen work really well is when internal communications teams make a concerted effort to focus on stories more about people and experiences out in the wild with customers or from an operational standpoint, and by introducing features that really allow individuals a chance to get to know each other. This next case study that we want to share with you is Wawanesa, and this is Wawanesa's soon-to-launch intranet. Wawanesa wanted to leverage the intranet to connect employees and try to balance global and local content. To do that, we created a news experience where local news from each region is targeted in the right-hand column. And employees have the ability to switch regions to see what's going on in other regions if they're traveling, for instance, from one region to another, and they want to get caught up on what's new in that location. And the main feature on the page is really meant for corporate news, and that's intended to be available to all employees. The featured spotlight below is for highlighting special promotions and features, again, targeted by region. When you travel below the fold on the page, you can see that we've added the capability for employees to recognize each other for great work. And in this particular case, the kudos are also targeted to the region that the individual is either from, giving the kudos, or the individual receiving the kudos is from. And finally, further down the page, you can see that we've created a photo gallery called Between the Branches. This is actually replacing a paper newsletter that was created quarterly by the regional leads. And it now automatically pulls employee photos that have been organized based on each region and different events that are going on. We heard that this is going to be a fantastic feature, and it really gives people a chance to have a social conversation relating to the experiences that are shared.
So we feel no modern intranet would be great without helping users to find people in addition to content. We've exposed native Office 365 search capabilities, such as Dell's People Search, through a better, more intuitive user experience, where users are more likely to discover it. Here, the Go People Finder is incorporated directly into the header navigation experience and offers type-ahead search results. Our recognition module is a simple and effective way for you to provide peer-to-peer recognition. And through analytics, we've seen this to be an extremely popular feature for many of the intranets that we've built in the past. Go's recognition feature highlights both the person giving the praise and also the person or people receiving one, fostering a much stronger peer-to-peer connections with individuals throughout the organization. Photos are another simple but effective means to build that sense of culture and connection, especially across organizations that might have multiple offices. Photos can really help people to understand what's happening across the organization and really stay connected. Go provides a visually rich gallery experience that enables you to showcase photos from perhaps a big event or a new project. We mentioned social previously in the context of a page, but we've actually enabled social capabilities across many different features within Go. In this case, social commenting and likes centered around event photo. It's a great way to foster employee connections and encourage user adoption as well. So that covers off our 4 themes today, and hopefully we provided some insights and examples of just how an intranet can support your organization and foster a great digital workplace experience. Okay, so we'll wrap up there. One last point is we wanted to encourage everyone to visit our Go microsite at connectwithgo.com, where you can find more information and screenshots of many of the examples that we talked about today. So thanks again for joining us, and have a great day.